Hi, very good evening to all our attendees and viewers who are watching us live on Facebook and YouTube. A very warm welcome to the Author Saga series. For those of you who are new to Pick a Book, here is a quick recap for you. So, Pick a Book is all about reading and more reading and inculcating the habit of reading and research and presenting the summary of it in our regular meeting sessions. Creating a better world by changing the sense of self through the habit of reading is the vision of Pick a Book. Currently, Pick a Book marked as inspiring presence in 4 countries: Sri Lanka, India, Singapore, and UK, with over 1,200 plus readers, 18 plus regions, and 100,000 plus people inspired through a session so far, all in just a span of 1 year. So while Pick a Book continues to spread its wings, we have come up with this beautiful initiative called Author Saga series. We call it a brand of our own, wherein, authors can reach their readers and individuals with like-minded interests. Authors can also discuss the key insights of their books, and readers can have this wonderful opportunity to know more about the book from the author himself. So today we have with us this wonderful author with his wonderful book called Minimalism, and he is Dr. Amila De Alwis. Hello,
Hello.
hello, sir.
Hi, Swarna. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Yeah, it's a
Doing
pleasure
very
having
well.
you
Thank
with
you very
us.
much for having me here today. Thank
Yeah,
you
it's
very
a
much
it's
for
a
having me here.
pleasure for
Yes.
us. Great. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to know a little more about the author today, Mr. Amila. Dr. Amila De Alwis is a father of three. He's a mental trainer, runner, and an eye surgeon. In his journey of self-improvement, he discovered, lived, and benefited from the concept of minimalism, leading to the writing of this beautiful book to introduce you the concept to those especially with family. So that's about it. A small and sweet intro. So once again, very warm welcome, Doctor.
Thank you.
Yeah. So first of all, from Pick a Book and all of us, I mean, who are watching us live, we congratulate you on this wonderful book, and we wish you a long way in writing.
Thank you very much, Swarna. Thank you very much for your wishes. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So Dr. Amila, are you an avid reader?
Well, I read. I'm a reader. I would definitely love to read more than I do right now. And I am reading with this concept of minimalism. I am reading more because I've got more time now, So I mean, I love
Mm.
reading, and I also love the concept of possibly even writing, and so this concept's given me the time to do so. And I think when you look at it, I'm sure you get this whole thing about most people love to read. It's just finding the time to read is the
Yeah.
tricky part nowadays with our busy lives, So I think I'm one of them. I'd love to read more than I do now.
Okay. Good. So how did your journey as a writer start?
Um, so look, I mean, like we said about, I've been thinking of writing many different things, and mainly to do with the my self improvement journey that I embarked on maybe 10, 15 years ago. And
Mhm.
of all the things that have helped me, I mean, this concept called minimalism that I've written this book on is something that I felt I should write on. Number one, because it's a very simple, small book that I wrote. It didn't take a lot of time and effort, but I felt it's a good way to start, and that's how it all started. The right journey of writing.
Okay. So how many days or months or weeks have you taken to finish this book?
Well, I started in 2019 December. Interestingly, just before the pandemic hit everyone, and
Okay.
it and I think, I mean, it took me maybe anywhere between 6 months to get it all together and then make the adjustments and then find a publisher and do all that.
Mm.
So yeah, so about 6 months I would say is overall how long it took to sort of get everything from beginning to end done.
Mhm. Okay, great. Okay, so what made you interested in writing this particular book? I mean to say, this particular concept called minimalism, like, and
Yeah.
is there any story or reason behind?
Well, I mean, if you go back maybe 10, 15 years ago, I was leading. I mean, life was very good. I was very busy. I was successful with work, and I had two kids then, and everything was going, according to what society would classify as a
Mm,
successful,
classic.
life at around the age
Yeah.
of 30, right? So, but then I realized, there's got to be. I thought to myself, look, there's got to be a bit more than just, work, come home, do all that. And then I just started reading. I started investigating as to what else. Just started asking the more important questions of myself as to
Mm,
what my real purpose is that I'm here. And then I actually happened to sort of in this whole journey of self improvement, self development, I stumbled on the concept of minimalism, and I
mm,
it sort of just I was immediately attracted to it, and I realized that it was maybe the missing link or the key that I needed to make a change in my life. And then the more I got to know about it, and I realized it just came quite naturally to me. I wasn't anyway a very materialistic person or very consumeristic person to start with, but I felt that maybe societal pressures had pushed me in that direction, like it happens quite
okay.
often. So when I developed and when I understood this concept of minimalism, and I
Mm,
started putting it into practice myself, and then my wife, and then at home, and like the book says, first physical and then mental minimalism. I realized, I mean,
mm,
over the last 10, 15 years, it's really, really benefited me a lot. It's given me a lot of time, a lot of energy, and focusing on the important things that matter to me, and and then sort of as a result, it helped me align my daily activities with my priorities and my values. Otherwise, sometimes there's a bit of a mismatch in
yes.
that you say one thing is important, but you're doing something else.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
with all this, I kept telling people about this concept, and then the few people who I managed to convince have benefited from it as well. And then
Mm.
the problem is that most books on minimalism that I actually got hold of and I read were about 200 pages long. So I
Oh,
thought to myself, that sort of sometimes
mm.
defeated the whole purpose of minimalism, if you're going to have such a
Minimalism.
long book. Yeah. So, and then
Okay.
also, the busy people we are nowadays,
Mm.
some of my friends are too busy to even listen to my 2-minute talk on minimalism. Reading a 200 page book would definitely not be an option
Yeah.
for them. So then I thought, why not, put just a very small summary
Okay.
on this concept, especially
Okay.
geared towards families. So that's why the book came out. It's only about 30 pages long, and my whole idea is that
Oh,
in one sitting you can sit down and you can read
okay.
it from cover to cover, maybe 2 hours on average, and you'd be done with it.
Okay.
So then so it's a minimalistic book on minimalism. So that's where the origins of the book came up.
That's very
Yes,
interesting. Very, very interesting. You literally talk the walk. What you said. You're trying to put it in
with book
action as
itself,
well.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's great. Okay, so I think, like you said, this minimalism is the latest, the famous word, I would say. A lot of successful people are coming out on record and saying this. They are choosing this minimalistic life. I mean, recently I heard an interview given by, the CEO of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg. Like he believes in minimalistic
Zuckerberg,
lifestyle as
yeah,
well. So yeah,
exactly.
so true. So what is this concept of minimalism all about? Where are its origins? Like, what does it mean actually?
Sure. So I don't know what happens is, minimalism has been around. Uh, the concept of minimalism itself that we are speaking about in the book has been around for many decades now. To
Hmm.
start off with, it's been in art, it's been in areas like
Okay.
that. And architecture, for example,
Mm-hmm.
there is a concept of minimalism as well, but it's become
Mm-hmm.
a term and a lifestyle choice more recently. It's become a lifestyle choice more recently. Now, it really comes,
Okay.
the word minimalism, it comes from the Latin word, minimum, which means for smallest. Now, when you look at it, although it's been a new, it's almost like a new concept, a new fad, or a new fashion to be minimalistic. If you look back at
Mm,
all major, I mean, my whole thing is, if you look back at all major religions, we're talking about
mm,
whatever successful, long lasting major religion that we're talking about, they had very, very minimalistic beginnings, and all the leaders, all the preachings in every religion, whatever it may be, is very, very
mm,
minimalistic. So in that
mm.
sense, I feel that minimalism's been around for like thousands of years. I mean, it's a very,
Okay.
very old concept, and
Mm,
it's part of our human sort of being as well. But unfortunately, it's in the last maybe few decades that consumerism's had its roots, and it's becoming more and more consumeristic society. Generally talk on
yeah.
minimalism. A lot of people don't relate to it initially because evolutionarily, I mean, if you look
Mm,
at evolution as well, consumerism is in our genes. So when we talk about, even when we were cavemen, or very, very, hundreds of thousands of years ago, the
yeah.
the societies that had more had a chance of surviving better. There's a higher chance of survival the more you had, whether it be food
Yeah.
or weapons or clothing, or
Yeah.
and then of course also, maybe going back a few hundred years, society itself gave people that had more, people who had more
Mm,
belongings, a higher standing in society. So if you had a
exactly.
bigger house or more things, you were
Yeah.
given a bigger, a more important place. Unfortunately, that's something that we've hung on to, and we are still doing that. Everyone who has a bigger house or more cars or more belongings are considered to be, more successful automatically. That's the default setting we have in our mind. So I tell people, I
Yeah.
mean, it's okay to be a consumerist, it's okay not to be a minimalist, but just think about it.
Mm,
Think about it, and then it's a change that you'll have to sort of actively think about, and then gradually understand, and then put into play, put into practical
mm,
application. And with that, most people will benefit from it. So it's been around.
mm. That's wonderful. Yeah, true. That's wonderful. Actually, I mean, that's quite interesting that it's been there from ages, and the religions also speaking about it. But I guess like how you said, it has become a society norm, to treat
Exactly.
people, as successful, or the people to be considered great are only those who have everything in plenty.
Have a lot.
So
Exactly.
yeah. So that's the fake norm, or artificial life, I would say. Good that
That's come up.
change is
Yes.
happening. Yeah, good that the change
Yeah.
is happening, and yes, the new word called minimalism is coming in place now. So I think it's a need of the hour as well, because we have seen the peaks of it. Peaks of taking that mental stress, or going to that extent that leaving aside everything to make money and live the life king size or queen size. So that has gone to peak somehow. So
Exactly.
it it's now very, very important to understand the concept of minimalism. So that's when people like you, the authors like you, I would say, writing these beautiful books, and in that way, your book is even special. They can finish it off in 1 hour, and one of our,
I know it's a very small
and
book. Yeah.
yeah, so they can have at a glance, they can understand the whole concept. Yeah. So that's a good
Exactly.
thing. Good, great. Okay, so when we are talking about minimalism and the lifestyle changes and everything, so what are the benefits, especially people get when or the environment around us can be changed when we follow this lifestyle of minimalism?
Right, Swarna. So, I mean, in the book as well, I've included two areas of minimalism, and that's a slight difference from most other books as well, because most books on minimalism available, they will talk to you
Mm,
about physical minimalism, meaning living with less material things. But I've also added another area called mental minimalism, because I do a bit of mental work and I realize how important the mind is. So that's the second section. But what I would say as the benefit would be is number one, when you have less things, you need less money, less energy, less effort to get those things. So when you have less
Yes.
things, there are a couple of benefits. Number one, of course, you have the benefit that you're saving money and you're using your money for the more important things. Number two, you're also, if you're giving away, if you've got so many things and you're giving those away, you're giving it away most probably to unfortunate people who may not have those things. So you're
Yep.
benefiting them as well. And then when you have less things, what happens is, I know at least for me, when I open my cupboard and instead of choosing from 50 different shirts to wear, if I can choose from four at the moment, that's how
Yeah.
it is, right? I have to use much less mental energy in the morning every day. I have less choice, and no one really remembers or cares about what shirt I wear. I mean, that's what I found
Yes.
out.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then I have benefits of mentally having not much clutter. I have more
Mm.
energy because physically I have much less arranging to do because I've got less things in my house, in my environment. And so when I'm using less things and you know and the environment will also benefit because of course the raw materials required to make all these things, and then the pollution that results
Yeah.
in in after we use these things, after we discard them, the environment
Mm.
greatly benefits from this concept as well. So I think it's a win for, I mean, everyone, ourselves, our families, and people around us, and more
Mm.
importantly the environment as well.
Yes. Absolutely. Very rightly said. I can connect to all of them. Every point you've mentioned here, because like you said, yes, because when there are fewer things we have, well, we require to spend, less energy, less headaches, I would say, like choosing
Headaches,
between
exactly.
a lot. Yeah.
A lot of things.
I don't know, the girls will have a different overlook on this, because
Slightly
for them
different,
it's
I know, I know.
yeah, so but then it's all about getting used to it, and understanding the whole
Yeah,
concept behind it. It's just understanding that, that's it. See, once the society and the norm has changed, it starts changing, and it's easy for people also to change, because the
exactly.
environment or the society, everything is supporting this concept. So that way, there, our mindsets also will change. Okay, people start accepting minimalism, so then there's nothing like it. So, but yeah.
Exactly. And also, like you mentioned, when you have successful people like Mark Zuckerberg, for
Mm,
example, if you look at him, you notice he'll wear his gray t-shirt and a pair of jeans for
mm.
everything. That's his set. So he has just that for his daily office work, for whatever he does. So that's he's
Exactly.
leaving his energy for when he really needs to use it. So that's another reason
True.
why he's successful. So I mean, that's
He's
so when you have
successful.
people like that doing it, I think it's a good endorsement. And then I'm hoping books like what
Yeah.
I've written and other books around will also help get the message across.
Oh, great, great. That's an amazing. When I heard that interview, I was literally shocked. And I think that's the first time I heard this, the concept of minimalism in the whole form. Like, otherwise, we are new to this word. We generally,
Exactly.
like, see parents, our ancient generation saying that, use the resources very mindfully, don't waste them. This concept is pretty much
Exactly.
there, but when it comes to lifestyle, somewhere, we just kept aside all of those things. So when
Exactly.
he said, he went on record and said, he still stays in that same old flat with one bedroom. So it shocked me, because you know he's a
It's not
billionaire,
what we're
and
used to hearing, I know.
oh yeah, that was it was pretty amazing. Like how you said, exactly. He used all his energy in where he needs to use it. So that's how
Exactly.
he got very successful. Probably he don't need to use his energy to choose what brand should I wear, what brand should I endorse, or carry on today. So that's awesome. That's pretty awesome. Okay, so we have been. I mean, you have been all the while talking about. The physical minimalism as well as mental minimalism. I understand the physical and minimalism by now. I could get a glimpse of it, but I am also very very keen to know what is mental minimalism. So that it sounds an amazing thing. Quite
Yeah.
a new thing to me. So. What is
So I
that?
mean, so basically what I've taken minimalism, which is in most accounts a physical
Mm,
concept where we've taken. So once you get more time and more energy, more money is in your available to you because you're actually buying less things,
mm,
you I mean, my question was, why just stop there? Your mind's the most important thing. Why not extend these benefits and this concept to your mind as well? So when we talk about mental minimalism, what I'm really talking about is, number one, when you have less things, automatically you have less clutter in your mind. You're more relaxed because you don't see 100 things, you just see a few. So right up front,
mm,
you have you're at slightly at more peace, right? And then, of course, like we spoke about, Mark Zuckerberg, you preserve your valuable mental energy for the activities that you really want to do. But at the same
yep.
time, you also got to remember, Swarna, that a lot of the other thing that differentiates this book from most books on minimalism is the most books on minimalism are written by 25-year-olds who would
Mm,
give up everything they have. They put all their belongings into a suitcase, and then they will travel the world being minimalistic, right?
mm.
So
Okay.
when you've got, I mean, like in myself, when you've got 3 kids and a clinic to run and lots of other things going on, you can't really do
Yes.
that. You've got to be able to incorporate these concepts into your daily life in a very practical way. So what
Yes.
I found is that, once you got the physical minimalism going, then you can
Yep.
apply it to other areas as well. I mean, do we need to keep in touch with every single friend we have? Do we need to keep in touch and
Yeah.
attend every single, event that we've been invited for?
Mm,
We need to sort of be able to, mentally also triage our activities and our thoughts as well. So I find that with the physical minimalism, when you extend
mm,
that to your mind, and things become
yeah.
simpler, things become clearer, and there are fewer things to think about, and then you start
Yes.
thinking about the more important things and you focus your energy there. So that's where the mental
Yeah.
minimalism comes in as well.
Amazing, amazing, truly amazing. I just love the concept, mental minimalism. I'm hearing it for the first time in that perspective. I just heard the word minimalism, but mostly people will consider minimalism as physical
The physical
minimalism. No,
part.
nobody, yeah, no, but
Exactly.
but actually, where it makes more sense when we're talking about mental minimalism. Actually, because it is our mind who wanders like a monkey all the time. So it's
All
more
the time.
minimalism is,
Exactly.
yeah, so more
That's where you
minimalism
need it more.
techniques. Yeah. In fact, the clutter is, when it's cleared from mind, it's easy to clear those physical clutter, because mind is
Exactly.
one. It is, it doesn't support, or it supports. It is the one which actually controls. So
Controls
when we are
everything.
clear,
Exactly.
so when we are clear here, so
Clear.
we can actually do it on the whole. So that's wonderful. The
Exactly.
points you have pondered here are too good. So, ladies and gentlemen, this concept of minimalism is very, very beautifully explained through this small book of 30 pages. And somehow the added advantage of this is that it also talks about mental minimalism, which is probably a new term to be heard, but then it's like very, very important. The more clear, the more focused you are. It's like a choice you make. In everything you do, you're reducing your choices to the minimum, so so that you don't have to spend so much of your energy on, because energy is something, when we talk basic physics, energy is something not created, not destroyed. It can only be transferable. So the
Exactly.
more, yeah, so the more clever you are, the more minimalistic you become. So the more energy you will gain. You can actually transfer to a lot of useful things out there, and then really make a difference in the society. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's a very, very important point. I just loved it, this book for it. So please go and buy. I think it's there on Amazon, right, Dr. Amila?
It's
Is
on.
it available
It's
on?
on. It's available on Amazon as well, and also
Mm,
it's available on. I mean, it's been published locally in Sri Lanka, and then by MD Gunasena is a publishing company in Sri Lanka, and then they will be making it available for online purchase as well.
Oh, okay, wonderful, wonderful. That's good. So ladies and gentlemen, just get this book. Try to get this book, and then just go through it. It hardly takes a time of yours, but then it gives a whole lot of information in a nutshell. So yep, so it's such a great book to grab on. And then, okay, moving on to my next question, Dr. Amila. With this pandemic, especially, we actually so far talking about before and after in a lot of other things. But then after the pandemic hit, maybe probably we just have to add this also, before pandemic and after pandemic, there are a lot of changes in the economy, in the society, in the person's attitude, everything. I think, we can just name it as before pandemic and after pandemic. So things have changed that drastically. So
Exactly. Yeah.
does this minimalism mindset, do you think, has gained even more importance, especially after this pandemic?
I think so. I mean, I definitely think so. And I think two really important parts to that question. Number one, the pandemic has shown us that we can be minimalistic. You know, in the pandemic, we couldn't go out and eat what we wanted to. We couldn't meet everyone we wanted to. We had to be minimalistic in our actions, and that was forced on us, you know. So that's number one. So the pandemic showed us that we all have the ability to be a minimalist if we wanted to. Unfortunately, you know, you already see with things getting back to normal, people going back to their old ways. You know, that's something that, you know, we'd want to avoid. But number one, the pandemic has shown us that we can do it. The second thing, Swarna,
Yeah.
I think, is that with, like you said, the economic and the difficulties that are going to come in over the next so many years because of the pandemic, I think this is a
Hmm.
very good mindset to have to approach that. So not only will it enable us to make better use of our time, energy, and money that is going to be limited, but it'll also
Hmm.
help us to really help countless others, I mean, who are going to be in even more economic difficulty and financial difficulty because of the pandemic. So I think, again,
Hmm.
even pre and post pandemic, or even in this pandemic that we are still in, I think minimalism is just it's a win in every way. So I think it's a good mindset to have.
Oh, yes, definitely. Now, very rightly said. Because, a lot of lives have got shattered, this in this pandemic, like a lot of families have, lost their breadwinner. So, it's a struggle. It's going to be a struggle for a lot of
Of
families
course.
out there. Yeah, the single earnings now, they may have to live on single earnings. So at this point of time,
Exactly.
definitely, the concept of minimalism should definitely will work for them. In fact, yeah, it's like good, very good concept, I would say. Every the question, every answer, and every question is like, is amazing me, because I can see a very good chance of making our lives much better in every possible way following this lifestyle. So I could easily sense that from what we how the discussion is going on. So
Sure.
that's amazing. Amazing. Okay. Okay, when we are talking about the economy, when the society or things like that, so how we are sure, like, a minimalistic lifestyle is definitely going to, if something good, there's always a bad associated with it. So when we everybody is like leaning towards this new concept of minimalism, so the economy is definitely going to have its backstage. So,
Effects. Yeah.
yeah, effects. Yeah. So how is it like, all the famous brands, all these people who are talking about, uh,
All
who
that
are
becomes a
talking,
problem, I know.
all that becomes a
Look,
problem. So, they may question you one day for writing this
one
book.
day they
So
may, I
you
mean,
got
look,
to,
what I feel, Swarna, I mean, it's a pretty valid question. And this is a question when I speak to everyone in the corporate sector, you know, for example, even my friends in the corporate, they're like, you know, so what does it mean? You know, everyone, if
yeah.
everyone becomes minimalistic, what does that mean for the economy and society in
Yes.
general? So, you know, my thing is that lots of people, when you talk about minimalism, you know, the first thought that may come to your mind is someone who gives up everything and goes into a cave and starts meditating for the rest of their
mm,
life. So I mean, that's a very extreme example. So my concept that
yes.
I've shown with this book is that, especially
Mm,
for the family, is that
mm,
we are not, minimalism doesn't talk about not spending. You are
yeah.
spending, but you're spending in a more meaningful way. So you're
Yes.
spending in areas. Now, for example, yes, I agree that if, let's say, I mean, hypothetically, I'm hoping it will happen, but I don't know. I doubt it.
Mm,
But let's say if the majority of the world overnight becomes minimalists, right? And they,
uh,
like you said, certain brands and certain
yes.
material things they stop buying. But the point
Yeah.
is that when they have the money, that they have the extra money and effort, they will be spending it on other things: holidays, spending time, hobbies, spending
Exactly.
time with the people that they like. So it'll be actually
Mm,
not a collapse of the economy, but it'll be a more a readjustment of the economy. I mean, a good example
true.
is, when the motor came about, and all the labor
Mm,
people who were doing labor,
mm,
I mean,
mm,
when the steam engine came around, they lost their
yeah.
work, because now a
Yes.
machine could do, what 100 people could do in a day, a machine could do in an hour. But doesn't mean that,
Yeah.
then new opportunities come up and new
Yes.
abilities. Now, with the IT industry nowadays, lots of people
Mm,
are losing the traditional jobs, but then they are
true.
shifting in a more meaningful
To
way, in a more
extent.
efficient way. Exactly. So this
Yes.
is where I feel the corporate sector and the economy, it'll be a
Mm,
shift in the economy. It won't be anything negative. It'll be a
yeah.
change from where we spend, from this to that.
Definitely, definitely. That's nothing to worry about. Like how you said, made total sense because, uh, yes, there will be a shift, but that shift is not new to us because we have seen so many shifts that happened previously. Also, when
100%.
we are talking about a shift. A pandemic, there's nothing like pandemic, right? There is no shift like
Yeah,
pandemic when we're talking about a shift. So it shattered, all in a span of few months. Everybody, it shattered a lot of
exactly.
lives, a lot of businesses been shut down. But then the new opportunities have opened up. Now people are
Right.
going online. The digital platform has become super crazy. And
You know,
in a way, when we are talking like this, it was not the scenario before. Now it's like
before.
yeah. Now we can talk to a person in Sri Lanka, or talk to a person somewhere sitting in the world, and we need a lot of people to do the job at the back end. So that has given
Exactly.
a new opportunity for a lot of people. So every crisis will definitely open up a new opportunity. So it's a temporary shift, whatever it is. It's just that accepting that new change. That's it. So
Exactly.
and yeah, so people are smarter. That there's no more cavemen now. So people are smarter to immediately adapt to the new changes.
New change.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. So, but then this concept is way too beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. You just have, uh, um, yes. I mean, understanding this is a bit challenge because a lot of people might not have heard about this. But then just go through a few books like this and learn the new concept. This concept, about having the minimalistic lifestyle, and like how Dr. Amila rightly shared, it's leading a minimalistic lifestyle doesn't mean leading a life of a yogi. You just don't have to give up everything and just go to some isolated place, or just it's nothing to do with that. Having a minimalistic sense is like leading a more sensible life. That makes total
Exactly.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to spend on everything you look at, on everything you like. You just have to make some priorities in life. So you just have to spend rightly, smartly, and yeah, so that you can use the resources to the minimalistic way, in a minimalistic way. In fact, that does a lot of good to the environment as well. We can actually,
Yeah.
this is a broader concept in a way, right, Doctor?
It is.
When
Yeah.
you're
It
talking
is. I mean,
about
I think you can apply it to so many things. You have the physical, you have the mental, and the
yeah,
environments become such a big issue
environment.
nowadays. And with
True.
the amount of, with the resources being depleted, with global
Mm,
warming, I mean, this is
exactly.
really, I mean, this is, I don't think this is, in my mind at least, it's not an option that we have. It's something that
Yes.
we have to do if
Do
we are
it.
to,
Mm,
ensure that the next generation, I mean, even us,
yeah.
if you look at all the flooding, the climate change, the wildfires, you look at the environment
Oh,
taking
yes.
its toll, global warming, ocean levels rising,
Exactly.
you see that we've already done,
Mm,
hopefully not, but maybe even irreversible damage to where we live. So, and we still spend so much time and effort and money on, things that we don't need. So, I mean, that's the whole thing, you have to look at the
that's the
bigger
whole thing.
picture, look beyond the next
True.
year of your life and see, what's important.
Mm. True, that is very, very true. In fact, I would say, you can have a notepad and just write it down, how much each saving you've done on each thing in your
Oh,
life
yeah.
could add upon for an year. When you count for an year, every small change you bring, every small spending or every small no, utilization of resources, you just make a note and see the difference by yourself.
Exactly.
How much you could save it when you just give it an extra a drop of it. So that's when one person can do such a change, and imagine the whole world, how it becomes when we use the resources to the minimum possible. That's amazing. So
Yeah.
that's, yes, like how you said, it is a must thing to do. It is a must thing to save our environment. So we have already
Yeah.
used it too much.
Yeah, I know.
We
I
have
don't think
already
I don't
used
think
it.
it's an option anymore. I mean, it's not really
It's
an
not an
option where we
option.
can do it if we want to. We cannot do it if
Yes.
we don't want to. But I think we've got to think a bit beyond that. 100%.
Oh, definitely, definitely, yes. So when we're talking about environment, definitely it's not an option for us. So yes, so that's a good thing. I just loved it. So ladies and gentlemen, I think we have got enough of the idea about what minimalism is all about. So it's not just important to listen and learn; it's also equally important to go, get into the action. Start everything with little things. Just start living a minimalistic life one by one. If you cannot, I mean, obviously, like, we can't give up everything at a time. So but then you try to understand the concept, and start making small changes in your lifestyle. So when you see the change, you will be able to appreciate it. So that's when, yeah, you can understand the whole thing. And it's equally more important because when we are passing such a knowledge and such a good lifestyle to our kids, when we talk about, we always try to pass on that education, good education, to our kids, and that being active in sports, or physically active, and all these things, when we are so proudly passing on to them and leading a minimalistic life, using the resources sensibly, is also very, very important to pass to them. So thank you so much, Dr. Amila, on that. So before I close the session, I just want to, hear from you what typically the day starts like and ends like. What are the small changes you have made when it comes to your personal life with regards to the minimalism?
Right. So, I mean, one little thing, Swarna, what I would say is that whoever is listening is, like you said, you've got to start small. You can't suddenly wake up and be entirely
Mm,
different from what you were yesterday. So, just to
yeah,
prove the point, when I spoke to my wife, I mean, like you said, ladies are not as easily convinced about this
yeah,
minimalistic
true.
lifestyle as uh, we are. So,
And
what we did was, the two of us, we got together, and there is something called a 333 project. It's given in the book as
mm,
well. So it's where we use 33 items of clothing for 3 months,
mm,
So 33 items of clothing. And so it's
mm,
you have one shirt, one, you have, and this is including shoes and accessories and everything. So 33, that's what you have to use for 3 months. So what we did was, myself and my wife,
mm.
we chose our 33 items, we put everything
Mm.
else away, and we manage
Okay.
on these 33 items of clothing for 3 months. So we went to
Mm,
work, we met people, we went out and did everything. At the end of the three
Mm.
months, we asked the people closest to us, our family, our workmates, our friends, even our
Mm.
children. We asked them, did you notice the difference? And they're like, no, we didn't. Well, what happened? So then we thought to
Okay.
ourselves, we've got hundreds of items of clothing in our cupboards. We put them
Yes.
all away. We just use 33. And all these
Yeah.
people that we were supposedly trying to impress or look good for didn't notice the change. So my then
Yeah.
question was, why do we need everything else? So, I mean, this is a very good, simple example or a small
Mm.
experiment that everyone can do. And then it
Yeah.
proves to themselves that is not as important as we think. People are not as worried about what you're wearing, but it's more about how you behave, what you say. I mean, that's obviously the more
Exactly.
important thing. And then
Yeah.
with, with the minimalistic concept, when you spoke about my day, what I realized is, okay, if I need less things, I need
Mm.
to work less because I need to earn. So I've been able to, cut down a little bit on my work, and I've got much more free
Mm.
time for myself to do exactly what I want to do. Write a book. Have
Yeah.
do all my other things that I would like to. So I start my day with a bit early, maybe around 4 o'clock in the morning. I get up, maybe I meditate quite a bit, so maybe about an hour of meditation. Then I go for a
Mm.
run, and then I get all my reading, all my work done before everyone else wakes up. So by about 3 or 4 hours of that in the morning, and then I'm ready for work. Uh, My work also is quite limited, so maybe 3-4 hours a day is how long I work every day for 5 days a week. So it's
Mm.
not as long a day as I had 15 years ago, where I was working 12-hour days, 7 days a week, as most doctors do nowadays. So
Yeah.
it's changed, it's helped. So I'm actually learning more about myself, about what's important to me, and I feel that now my life, my daily actions are more in alignment with my priorities and my values that I hold dear, and that's helped
True.
me help a lot of other people as well, including myself and my family. So
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah, so that's quite wonderful. I mean, being a doctor, I know, it's like, very busy schedules. Like your schedules are more in the hands of people, not in your hands.
exactly. But again, it's our time is in our. We've got to be in control of our time. If I'm sure,
Yeah,
if you let it go, if you let other
true.
people make those decisions for you, like what's happening
Mm.
with all the consumerism. We are watching ads, we are watching things on the internet, and then we are actually letting other people direct our awareness, make our decisions for us. We don't need that, but they're convincing us that
Yeah,
we do. So in the same thing with,
exactly.
even with patients and my work, look, I'm there. If there's an emergency, if there are urgent patients, I will see them, but I'm going to
Mm.
limit my time consciously because, there's more to life than, than only that.
Exactly.
That's important as well,
Yeah,
but there's more things to sort of realize as well.
true, true, true. That's very, very true. That's important. Yeah. So that will actually, that has your minimum. Now I understand when you said, you have gained so much time and energy. You can focus lot other things. Now you have, with this minimalistic lifestyle, you have a lot of energy to do your
100%.
meditation or go for your runs and reading books. Like you have solid 3-4 hours time in the morning. So, and then you could pass it on to your family as well. You have inspired them also, to follow this minimalistic lifestyle. So that is another victory for this. And then yeah, so like, true, you have set an example. You have literally walked the talk, what you spoke in the book. So that's amazing. That's amazing. Great. And thank you so much, Dr. Amila, for this wonderful conversation and this lovely book. So I would definitely love to grab it soon and, just, to read it.
Sure.
Like
Thank you
how you
very
said.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. You've shared literally, so many valuable inputs and things have been shared on this conversation. So, I think, ladies and gentlemen, I think you also have loved this session as much as we loved it doing it. So, yeah, so great. Thank you so much, and see you all next week with another great author and another great book. Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank
Amila.
Thank you very much, Swarna, and everyone in Pick a Book. I think you guys are doing a great job, and I feel that reading is such an underrated thing. And I mean, I tell everyone,
Mm.
with all these screens and all the your mind, like is the monkey mind, wandering all over the place from
Yes.
app to social media to so many things we do. I tell my children. I mean, I work with a few cricketers as well with their mental training and things like that. I tell them, read because reading gives you
Ah,
knowledge. It helps your mind stay in one place. It helps it
yeah.
get back to what it was supposed to do. So I think you guys are doing a really important job, because I think reading was such an important thing many years ago. Is maybe losing a bit of importance now, but you guys are doing a really great job in trying to reinvent the
Oh,
importance
yes.
of reading. So congratulations for that. Thank you very much for having me here as well today.
Thank you. Thank you for such valuable words. Yes, the reading is, in fact, that is how we are connected. That is how we got to know this concept of all minimalism. So otherwise, who is going
Exactly.
to, not everybody are going to, watch it on YouTube. You just have to be there on that. But there is, when compared to books, there's nothing like that. Books
Exactly.
can give you a lot. A lot, yes. So minimalistic lifestyle definitely can help to produce more and more readers also.
I think
So
so. Yeah.
yeah, true, because they get a lot of time. So, they can actually use it for a lot of for good things. So everybody, when I speak to people, most of them would say that I don't have time. So, that's a myth. That's a myth they
It's
are
a myth.
living in. All of us are living in. It's a complete myth that we don't have time. It's not. It's straight to the point that we are not prioritizing enough. That's it. So it's time is
Exactly.
always there. Great. So follow this minimalistic life, ladies and gentlemen. You'll have more and more of time. You will have more and more of it in hand. You can never complain. I don't have time. So you will have more of it now to do whatever you like to do. Great. Thank you so much, and see you all next week. Take care.
Thank you very
Bye.
much, Donna. Thank you.
Thank you.